Spaces dropped on a different kind of SDH programming day. I'm Jason Longshore. It's going to be a little bit of SDH deconstructed today, as my schedule is a little crazy. So you're going to get, this morning. We're going to talk a little bit about last night's match, the Open Cup, the regional draw that is set up for noon today, who Atlanta United could be facing, what the other groups look like, et cetera, et cetera. Then later today, you're going to get to hear from our friend Nico Moreno. He's going to talk to John Nelson for our usual Thursdays with Nico and coffee. And I think that segment might need more of a formal name. But John's going to catch up with Nico here in a bit. And then after the Open Cup draw, I'll come back with a little bit of a reaction to that and any other news of the day that has happened. So let's get into what happened last night at the Fraction. It was action at the Fraction. It was. And a lot of people were excited about the action at the Fraction, and there were a lot of goals during the action at the Fraction. Big win for Atlanta United, 6-0 over Chattanooga FC. I mean, a few things. Chattanooga FC is a pro team that has a couple of years of professional soccer under their belt, and one of those years was 2020 that was heavily wrecked, especially in their universe, by COVID. I think they've got the right coach in place now in Rod Underwood and sporting director, because he's going to build something for the long haul. And look, when you've been a summer team like Chattanooga has for most of their history, you have to think short term, because it is about player recruitment. It is about getting the guys who can fit in quickly and easily and win games at that level. The pro level is different, and it's an adjustment. And I think Chattanooga has made that adjustment now. And they've got a guy who is a very intelligent soccer person in Rod Underwood. And I think somebody who, if you watched the way Chattanooga approached the match last night, they did not just bunker and be defensive. They tried to play, knowing that they're playing a team that's better than them, and knowing, walking in the door, that they're probably not advancing in the Open Cup. And that's okay. I think it was important for where they are under Rod Underwood to play the way that they needed to play here, rather than try to grind out and steal a result. I think it was the right move for the long term, because he's only a couple games into his tenure in Chattanooga. He's got to set the expectation of, this is Chattanooga FC soccer. And I think he did that. In the past, look, they haven't played that way. And in the past, they've been a team that, you know how I feel about styles of play. In the past, and a lot of it is down to the competitions they've been in. In the NPSL, you don't have a lot of time to develop players or develop a style of play. You're bringing guys in, and they're walking in the door, and they're getting a practice session under their belt, and you're playing your first game in NPSL, and a lot of these guys in the summer are working, or they might be taking some summer classes, or they might just be off from school and enjoying their summer, but playing for you, and not everybody is as committed. So it's hard to really improve a team over a short 2-month season. You got to pick guys, and you got to put them on the field, and you got to play. You got to keep it simple. At the pro level, that's not good enough, and that's not going to work. And I think Chattanooga FC has learned that. So I'm really impressed to see their commitment to Underwood, and I'm excited to see their commitment to playing the game in a style that I think will serve them really well in the long run. It'll serve their work with academies well. It'll serve their work with bringing in players like Damian Rodriguez well, who I thought showed really well in this one. It's the right move. Did it work last night? No, it didn't. They didn't deviate from it. When you get a few years down the road and you're established in what you're trying to do, and you get this matchup again, maybe, then you can go a little outside of your comfort zone in terms of being more defensive and trying to stretch this game out longer and those kinds of things. But right now, they had to really put down their marker as, this is who we are going forward. And I thought they did that. That was a really smart move by Coach Underwood and his crew. Atlanta United, first 20 minutes. I said the first 15 were going to be essential. I missed it by about 5. The first goal comes in the 21st with Ronald Hernandez. I thought Atlanta United was good in the first 15. I think they were a little surprised that Chattanooga came to play and play in the way that they did. And it took Atlanta just a little bit of time to get control and start wearing Chattanooga down, and eventually they did. They get the goal on the assist from Andrew Gutman to Ronald Hernandez. He gets inside of the defender on the back post and just pushes it home. It's not a fancy finish. It's a good one, though, and Ronald Hernandez needed that. It was good to see him have a good match on the night. Dom Dwyer, about 4 minutes later, with a great header on across from Jake Mulraney. It's the classic kind of Dom Dwyer work in the 18 that we're accustomed to, where Mulraney puts in a cross and Dwyer dives actually away from the goal. He's diving towards the cross, and he's just trying to redirect it into the goal, and it gets through the goalkeeper, gets into the far side netting. Great goal for Dwyer. You get 2 goals in about 4 minutes, and if you're Chattanooga, you start to feel under siege a bit. It was 10 minutes after that Dwyer scored his goal of the night, his second, and it's just a ball in the edge of the attacking third that it looks like Marcelino Moreno's going to run onto and hit, and Dwyer just pulls a left-footed bomb out, which was great to see, because when you hit that kind of a shot and you make that kind of a play, you're feeling confident. And we've talked about the number 9 position and needing confidence. The player needing it and the team needing it in that person. Dom Dwyer has grabbed that spot for at least now, and it's very necessary to see. So he hits a bomb, a golazo. It's 3-0 at the break. First half is everything you could want from the Atlanta United perspective. 11 shots to 1, 3 on target. You scored on all 3 on target. They were consistently getting into the final third. They were passing at a really good clip, 88% at that point. They had 59% of the possession, 14 crosses in the first half, but they were generally well thought out plays to create those crosses. All good stuff. It didn't let up in the second, and that was maybe the most impressive thing of the night for me. You see teams sometimes in the situation, if you're the first division team, you've got a 3-0 lead at halftime. You can cruise a little bit, you can coast through, but that's not what Atlanta United needed to do here. And look, Chattanooga was kind of standing on the train tracks of this one, because Atlanta United needed to build some confidence. They did. They kept going. They brought on attacking players to continue to ramp up the pressure. They bring on Thiago Almada at halftime. They bring on Brooks Lennon at halftime in a wing role. Important moves from Gonzalo Pineda to keep the pedal down and keep going, and they did. And they get the penalty in the 53rd minute that Marcelino Moreno bangs home. It's a pretty good one, too, with Mulraney and Dwyer. Dwyer, a little bit heavy on the pass. Mulraney has to slide and save it, but then he gets his dribbling duels that he wants, gets into the 18, gets fouled. Great work by Mulraney to make that happen. And Moreno needed a penalty to get his confidence back after having a penalty saved against Cincinnati. Moreno puts this home. You're at 4-0. And it was no hesitation that Marcelino Moreno was going to take it. None at all, and I think everybody on the team wanted him to get that and get that feeling back on the penalty. Goal 5, Luis Araujo. Great to see him back. Great to see him playing like this. He came on in the 62nd minute along with Emerson Hindman. And it's a layoff from Dwyer, who I thought did all the things that you needed the forward to do beyond scoring the goals. I thought he pressed. I thought he worked hard. I thought he was a player that they could play off of up top. Araujo's goal is a prime example, where it's laid off to Araujo. He gets into the 18. You think he's going to rip that left-footed curler. Nah, he's just going to chip you. Ooh, saucy goal from Luis Araujo. I love it. So that gets you to 5-0 in the 67th minute. And one more from Brooks Lennon on a play where Miles Robinson steps up high into the play, wins the ball, passes it over to Lennon. Lennon just takes a step to set himself. Hits one from the top of the 18, 84th minute. That's goal number 6. That's the day. It's a good day. Stats, 21 shots to 4, 6 shots on target to 1. All 6 ended up in the back of the net. You passed at 59, or you had 59% of the possession. You passed at 89%. It got better in the second half. Chattanooga started to get worn down. Atlanta maybe very late took their foot off the gas a little bit. Understandable in a situation. Some of the numbers that I find important in this one: Jake Mulroney created 4 chances. Ronald Hernandez and Brooks Lennon each created 3. Lennon in 45 minutes of work. Andrew Gutman created 2 chances. Robinson, Ibarra, Moreno, Wolf, Dwyer, and Araujo all created chances in this one. Good numbers there. Really good stuff. Franco Ibarra playing in a holding midfield role in the second half. He played as the 6 by himself. He passed at 94%, 47 of 50. Love to see that. That's the area of his game that if he can improve, he's going to get on the field more. Defensive actions, Ibarra led the way with 4 tackles, 1, and 4 interceptions. Andrew Gutman with 4 tackles, 1, and 3 interceptions. Alex DeJohn, who I thought was very good here. Great to see him get this time on the field. He's somebody you can count on when you need him. 3 interceptions for him, 1 tackle. Robinson had a couple of tackles, 1, had an interception. Ronald Hernandez, 2 and 2. Brooks Lennon won a couple of tackles. It was a good performance against a team that you should absolutely take care of, and they did. It's not always that easy, is it? We've seen that in the Open Cup where you let teams hang around and you have to put in some extra work. Atlanta United made sure that they did not have to do that. They made sure that, they could slow things down a little bit in the second half and not have to expend as much energy, and it's going to help them on Sunday. Inter Miami had to work pretty hard in their 90 minutes against the Miami FC. Other matches from last night, Rochester, New York FC really had to work as they finished the match with 9, but they do go through on penalties against FC Motown after just a wild topsy-turvy back and forth. Crazy game up in Rochester. Richmond Kickers needed a 118th minute winner, I think. It might have, 118th minute from Emiliano Terzaghi. They go through North Carolina Fusion U23s in extra time. Minnesota went to Madison, 2-0 win. Didn't have to sweat too much on that one. Charlotte had a lot of sweating to do as they beat Greenville in extra time, 2-1. It was a goal from Harrison Offal. Kamil Jozwiak got his first assist in a Charlotte shirt, but Offal puts it away, and Charlotte survived Greenville. That's important. We'll talk about that here in a bit. Newark Red Bulls had to sweat some as Hartford Athletic pulled one back, couldn't get another one. 51st minute, they pulled it to 2-1. The Red Bulls ended up holding on to win 2-1. Orlando City, 2-1 winners over Tampa Bay Rowdies. All the goals in the second half there. Pato and Junior Urso for Orlando. Lucky Mkasana, 2 minutes after Urso's goal, made it 2-1. Rowdies couldn't find another one to equalize. Lou City and St. Louis City SC, that one went to penalties, went to 10 rounds of penalties, and Louisville City ends up holding off the MLS Next Pro side from St. Louis. Scoreless through 120 minutes. Lou City goes through on penalties. San Antonio, in one of the surprises of the night, 96th minute goal in extra time by Carter Manley. That's enough. They beat Austin FC 2-1 in a match that had some spice to it. I got a chance to see the end of this one. Diego Fagundes gave Austin the lead. Elliot Collier answered in the 82nd for San Antonio. Then they get the goal from Manley in extra time. San Antonio advances. Northern Colorado Hailstorm advanced over a very young Real Salt Lake side. They did make a few changes in the second half. It didn't really matter because Robert Cornwall got a goal in the 70th minute for Northern Colorado. The USL League One new guys go through. I had a yellow card on the bench from Eamon Zayed, the coach for Northern Colorado. They're a feisty bunch. I like those guys. LAFC, they did not have to sweat. They took care of their business. They got 3 goals in the first half, led 3-0 at halftime, won 5-1 over Orange County SC. And the goal was from Kubo Torres for Orange County. Good to see Kubo getting goals for Orange County. I'm happy for him. Phoenix Rising 2-1 over New Mexico in an all-USL championship battle. Greg Hurst with the winner in the 81st minute. And the last game of the night, Sacramento 2-1 over Central Valley Fuego. And it was a late penalty from Rodrigo Lopez that puts them through. 95th minute, Sacramento held off the cup set. So we ended up with 4 cup sets in total in this. Not bad. Not bad in the cup sets. You had a bunch of close calls. But like I was saying about Atlanta United, I think the number one thing here is you didn't want to add extra work for yourself. You didn't. Some teams did. We'll see how that affects them as you get into the weekend. Because you've got league play this weekend. And look, you're going to have some teams that are a little tired. So the news of the morning is that U.S. Soccer, overnight, I think they dropped this, what time? About 1:18 when they announced when Atlanta United, what their group was going to be. The draw is going to be today at noon. You can watch it on Twitter. You can watch it on YouTube. 8 geographic groupings, and it's not purely geographic, or they went in some crazy directions with their map. Here's what you got. You're going to get drawn out of this. Now, the one question, and they keep changing things around. This draw was supposed to be on Friday. They moved it up because there weren't any games today and whatever. Does this create your round of 32 and round of 16 matchups? Or is this just your round of 32 and then we'll see what happens? I'm not 100% sure. I believe this creates your round of 32 and round of 16. That is my guess here. That is what I think they're doing. We'll find out. Northern Atlantic is what they're calling it. D.C., New York City, New York Red Bulls, and Rochester, New York. So you'll have an all-MLS matchup there. South, Nashville, Charlotte, Richmond Kickers, and Atlanta United. So you'll have an all-MLS matchup there. Atlanta could get Nashville, who they're only going to face once in MLS play this year in Nashville. They could get Charlotte for a third time this year in a competitive match. Could get the Richmond Kickers. The last time the Kickers faced an Atlanta-based team in the Open Cup was 1995 when the Kickers won the Open Cup, the year before MLS launched, and the first year that the A-League participated in the Open Cup, and the Atlanta Ruckus won their first game, went up to Richmond, and lost. I think it was the quarterfinal stage. Might have been round of 16. So the Kickers have a win over an Atlanta-based, higher-ranked in divisions team in their Open Cup history. Long time ago, but it's there. East Central, New England, Detroit, Cincinnati, and Lou City. So 2 USL Championship teams, 2 MLS teams in the East Central grouping. North Central, Colorado Rapids, Northern Colorado Hailstorm, Minnesota, and Omaha. So 2 USL 1 teams in that. You could get a Northern Colorado matchup. That'd be good stuff. Northern Pacific, okay. Seattle, Sacramento, San Jose, and Phoenix. Sure. Southern Pacific, Portland, Cal United Strikers of NISA, LA Galaxy, and LAFC. Okay. I guess they just wanted to separate Seattle and Portland. I mean, I got nothing else because what? Phoenix is like, what? Why are you putting us here? Okay. So it could have been Phoenix in Southern Pacific, and it could have been Portland in Northern Pacific, but sure. South Central, Sporting Kansas City, Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio. My guess, no, it's not. That's not even it, because there's a USL Championship team in the Northern Pacific, so it's not like they had to put them there. And there wouldn't have been 4 MLS teams in the Southern Pacific. So I have no idea why they did that. Take that up with U.S. Soccer, Portland Timbers, and Phoenix Rising. South Central, Sporting Kansas City, FC Dallas, Houston Dynamo, and San Antonio. 3 Texas teams, and then Sporting Kansas City gets lumped in there. And then Southern Atlantic, Orlando, Miami, Tormenta, and Philadelphia gets thrown into that. We get a Philadelphia-Tormenta matchup in the round of 32. Blood will be shed, I think, in that one. Good grief. It's also a potentially really long trip for South Georgia Tormenta up to Chester, PA, if that happens. That's a group that I don't think anybody wants to see Tormenta after what they've done in this tournament so far. They have knocked off 2 USL Championship teams, and they've looked really good in doing it. They've looked really composed in doing it. You don't want to see them in a midweek game and something weird. So where they end up is going to be very fascinating against a Miami side that's won 3 in a row, but we know the struggles they've had this season, against an Orlando team that has some Open Cup pedigree under Oscar Pereja. They got to a semifinal in 2019, and against the Philadelphia team that has Open Cup pedigree as well and is just really difficult to play. And it doesn't really deviate too much when they have to go deep into that bench, or if they have to bring up academy guys or play Philly Union 2 guys. They're going to play the same way. So that's what we know. That's how the groups are set up. The draw will happen at noon. We'll see where Atlanta United gets. Atlanta United, I am assuming, I don't have this information for sure, but I am assuming they can host or they could be on the road. Richmond has a facility that they could host. Barring something crazy, they would be able to host. Now, do you remember in the last round that Charlotte was not able to host? They did not put in to host in that last round. I would assume they would have for this round, knowing that they could potentially get an MLS opponent. I don't know that for certain. And Nashville will be able to host at their new facility when these games take place. I am pretty certain. So they should be okay. They could get a little crunched in by that if possibly, because I don't think they'd want to open their new stadium with an Open Cup game rather than what they have scheduled. And I don't think that's going to end up being the case. I'm going to try to confirm that before we get to that point if possible. But I think they play their opener there before we get to the next round of the Open Cup. Actually, they might not. Double check this really quick as I'm doing research while I'm talking to you guys. Doing the show, I know that's completely and utterly professional. Yes, they do. They play on May 8th. They host RSL, and the next round of the Open Cup would be the midweek after that. So, yeah, they could host, I would think, as long as they put in for it. So you could get a situation if Charlotte, for some reason, can't get Bank of America Stadium, doesn't have anywhere else to go, and Nashville wasn't 100% sure, so they didn't want to put in to host. You could get a situation where Atlanta and Richmond are your hosts. Okay, we'll see what happens. I don't know the situations with anybody else in terms of hosting. We talked about it on the full-time report with Tormenta. They've got their new facility under construction. I do not know the timelines of that, so I don't know if they're going to be able to host somebody there. Now, for them, they'd probably love to open their new facility with a Philly or a Miami or an Orlando come into Statesboro to play. That'd be amazing. But I don't know their timeline. I don't know if that's even possible. So keep that in mind as you get to the draw today at noon. Big stuff there. That's going to do it for me because I have a meeting I have to get to. John will be with you later today with an interview with Nico Moreno from Pulso Sports, our good friend up in Seattle. Get his thoughts on Seattle's loss to Miami last weekend. We talked to Nico last week about going to the CONCACAF Champions League final. That's coming up next week. First leg in Mexico sold out by Pumas. Second leg in Seattle in a couple weeks is not sold out, but they're over 45,000. So that's going to be huge in Seattle, the biggest attendance for a CONCACAF Champions League two-leg final of all time. Can't wait to see that. We'll hear from Nico later. And then after the draw this afternoon, I'll come back with a little bit of a rundown of what that looks like. Any other news of the day and such as Atlanta gets ready to head down to Fort Lauderdale this weekend to play on Sunday. You've got a full slate of MLS games all across the board. We'll get into some of that. We'll preview all that tomorrow on the show. Normal show on Friday and our normal fastest 30-minute preview of Major League Soccer action that needs a better tagline segment of all time. It needs something more than that. I feel like I go micro machines when we go into that segment. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'd love if you guys have any questions, though. Fire them off. You can send them to us at Soccer Down here on Twitter. You can send them to us if you're one of our subscribers on our Discord. You can send them in the Discord as well. You can send them in the general folder if you want to let us know what you're thinking about today. I'll try to get to those later. John might tackle a few when he talks to Nico. If you have any questions specifically for Nico, drop them in, and John will try to work them into his podcast coming up with Nico here in just a bit. So sorry about the chopped up SDH format today. It's just sometimes is what the schedule calls for. Tomorrow will be normal again. Hopefully everybody is recovering from a wonderful evening in Kennesaw. Yes, the action at the Fraction was fun. And hopefully everybody is gearing up for a big weekend of action worldwide and in MLS and in USL League One and in USL Championship and in, I think, NISA, all over the map. We'll get into all of that as we go the rest of the day and tomorrow. So thanks for hanging out with me early this morning for a very quick dispatch of SDH goodness, and we'll be back with more stuff as the day goes on. Mucho platio.